Guys, is it worse than we thought when it comes to these earthquakes? Something that I found, and it's interesting, but it's scary at the same time. You see the earthquakes like flashing behind me. This is the live map with the latest earthquakes, but that's not what I mean, guys. There's something else. Let me zoom in just for you so that you see this is the latest earthquake swarm from the last 24 hours. And let me scroll back here. And this looks like I'm scrolling back days or weeks. No, guys, I'm scrolling within the same day, February 9th. And look at this here. So there were already reports on the 9th. Oh, it's slowing down, it's gradually ending, and then this, I don't want to say volcano, fault line, tectonic, this thing, this phenomenon, whatever it is, it said, hold my beer. 5.0 at a shallow depth of 5 kilometers, right in the area where we've had the most cluster of earthquakes. But that was not the only one. It was precursed by a 4.5, same area, a 4.0, same area. And then you can basically scroll around. I mean, the bigger ones, 3.8 is highlighted here, a 4.2, also interesting, a little bit more west because that swarm seemed to be traveling east. But on the 9th in the morning, it looked like it was traveling a little bit north into this area. We've seen some in this area and also here some outliers. So could it be that this constant rumbling, whatever it is caused from, like volcanic magma rising up, fluid rising up, tectonic plates moving around, fault lines being activated, did they activate another fault line here? That could also be the case. But I just released another video. I'll put it in the end screen. You have to watch it. A professor said out of the 4 signs that we could see a volcanic eruption, 3 are already happening. The land rise that was confirmed underneath Santorini, and then also the earthquakes and the sounds. The whole island makes a humming sound, a really weird sound, scary sound. That's what residents report. They say we can survive another magnitude 7+ earthquake if we get help, but we can survive a volcanic eruption. But, you know, we know since this earthquake swarm began basically on January 26, we've seen now more than 20,000 earthquakes, most likely. But we don't see them here on that map. And that's what's new. This is what I found out, guys. And that's what a big part of this video is about. I mean, you see the list here of these earthquakes. This is all February the 9th. And then you're wondering, that's not all? No, there's way more, but let's go back to, I can't even scroll down further. I have to go to the last 48 hours, guys, because there were so many just on the 9th. So let me get back. You see, there we have the 8th, and then here the 9th is starting out. Already a 4.1 here in the easterly direction. And then just look at what I'm scrolling, another 4.0. That's what I said. Is it going further north? Another 4.0 right in the center where all of them are. And we have a lot in the higher 3 range. But then here 4.4 further north a little bit. 4.2 further northeast a little bit. Another 4.2 here. Yeah, that's more west. And then, you know, it takes me a long time to scroll up, and then look at this 4.5, 5.0. So here it is. The USGS even has it at a higher range, 5.2 sort of thing. This earthquake list always goes a little lower, but it's in the 5 again. So it's not slowing down in number, and it's not slowing down in magnitude. So many 4s today. And then another 4.4 further north, 3.6, 4.1, 4.2. And I could go on throughout the day, always another 4. And then this here, this was maybe when people thought, is it slowing down? But look, guys, what just happened as we speak, another 4 that is here 15 minutes ago. That's what it says. But look at this area. What about this area? We have also seen earthquakes in this area. And it's not showing here. Right now, I can go back to the last 10 days. Let's see if we see it a little more. There have been higher ones off the shore of Santorini. For whatever reason, that map doesn't really show them all. Last 20 days, let's check if they still have that graph. There have been a few more, but maybe there have been a lot more. I mean, this looks quite impressive right now. And we still see it's still centered around the same area. Why doesn't it stop? You know, if there's a fault line, pressure needs to be released. Yeah, foreshocks, shock after shock. They still don't have the main shock. Magmatic fluids are on the move. Won't that stop? Are they constantly on the move? Maybe flowing into these activated fault lines? Is there something happening? But the interesting thing is, guys, and that's what I want to show you. Look at this picture. Way more earthquakes. You see the dark gray area? That is basically just the gray painted area. You can't make out the single dots anymore. But what about the red dots? The difference between the two is not the timing when these earthquakes happened. And here it gets interesting. They're using artificial intelligence now to find earthquakes that they weren't able to measure, either because they didn't have a station in place. And this is in the water, guys. Don't forget that, right? They're calculating this, and they have been quite successful doing so. It's proven them right. So artificial intelligence is proving a game changer, proving to be a game changer in tracking the Santorini earthquake swarm. And that is so important, guys, because we do not know what is going on. The scientists still do not know what's going on. Officials still say tectonic, just earthquakes. Many people say bogus, we don't believe you. You're just saying this to avoid any panic, to not hurt the tourism industry. Who knows? We don't want to accuse them of anything, but there's lots of scientists that are saying this is volcanic. And I just reported about it again. Watch it in the end screen. So what are the red dots, guys? The scientists are harnessing the power of machine learning to help residents and tourists by detecting thousands of seismic events. The machine learning is the interesting part, because you don't have to feed it every data point. You feed the machine historic data points, and the machine learns from what you've fed the machine before. And you give it basically a flow path, an algorithm, what it's supposed to do with these data. And there's a lot of seismic stuff that you feed into these algorithm. There's a lot of seismologists that are needed to create something like this. But then the machine can learn. It looks at historic events, and then it can make predictions at a way better rate than any scientists can, because it is so fast in processing. And that's really amazing. So what these machine learning algorithms are, and for those of you don't know, an algorithm is just an instruction to a software. It's do this, do that. If this is happening, do this, take these data and do this, right? It's basically a recipe, what the software should do. So the algorithms track the evolving seismicity crisis that is unfolding before our eyes as we speak. I bet you if I go back to that live earthquake list, there are probably a few more, and I will go back at the end of this video. So machine learning earthquake detection here in Santorini uncovers 10 times more earthquakes than standard seismic catalogs from the National Observatory in Athens. That's what you see in gray. And that's what I am always showing you on the live list. That is coming from the National Observatory in Athens. And everything that is red, that is what the algorithms have found. So, and this is the interesting thing. I zoom this map in a little bit more. Do you see that this is Santorini? There's way more earthquakes than we thought. So we were looking at Kolumbo, at the Amorgos area, and we were thinking, yeah, Santorini, there is this confirmed land rise now underneath the area, that little island within the Santorini crater, where we've seen the 1956 eruption. And you see above Santorini, you also can't make out single red dots, that many. It's a red painted area. If you go further south, you can see the red dots, and on the edges of the main swarm, you can see the red dots. But we have way more above or underneath Santorini than we thought. And this image that you're watching there, and that's so exciting, this is the first high resolution image of this complex volcanic seismic system. And these are only the earthquakes from November 30th, 2024 until February 6th, 2025. But on the 7th, on the 8th, and on the 9th, and now into the February 10th, it got crazy with lots of force, higher magnitude force, and another 5. So this doesn't even reflect the heavy stuff that came the days after. And already we know they declared the state of emergency, which was great to do, because the officials said, we want to be proactive this time. So should something like 1956 happen again, by the way, there was a volcanic eruption, we want to be prepared. So seismologists are increasingly turning right now to artificial intelligence technology to provide us with high resolution images of this ongoing seismic phenomenon. And this is so important because they don't know what it is. So they're trying with that also to enhance the forecasting accuracy of earthquakes or a major event, because authorities think we are going to see something maybe like 1956, a 7.7 earthquake. But again, there's others that say eruption is not excluded from this. In 1956, there was an eruption triggered by this earthquake, right? So since the start of this current seismic crisis, the scientists have started to use this machine learning, and they detected 10 times as many earthquakes as standard detecting techniques would. So over 20,000 tremors were accurately predicted in the Santorini area since December 1st, 2024. And what are they catching? They're also catching the small magnitude tremors that are so important. They were previously undetected. So the scientists are saying this has revolutionized the way scientists can learn from seismic activity and predict patterns. The patterns is also the important thing. You feed this algorithm such a wide database of worldwide seismic events and what came before, what happened during the event, what came after. And it compares so fast, no human could do that, and says, yeah, I've detected a pattern. This is the same pattern as what happened back in whatever. And we could see this and this. And the accuracy is stunning. And here it comes. That's why I'm so concerned. And nobody else is talking about this. Not in the press, not on TV. We don't hear this. Because of these algorithms, the researchers were able to first note increased seismic activity across the Santorini region on January 26th this year, but also Santorini. And if you compare this, the standard detection technologies did not register the same increase. It took them until January 31st. And then they only picked up 2,000 seismic events in this Santorini area. So 10 times less than that new approach. And that's a huge difference. So the heart of this advancement is basically the ability to combine different sources of information more quickly. For Santorini, this is unique because we don't know where it's coming from. It's located on the Hellenic volcanic arc. Basically, it's the convergence of the African plate and the Eurasian plate. And at a very, very complex tectonic boundary. And that's why many scientists have said, yeah, that is clearly tectonic. But, you know, the current seismic events that are around the island of Santorini, they show that these outbursts of earthquakes occur almost twice a day. Twice a day we have a spike, then it slows down a little bit, spike, spike. So, and then the spike is lasting for about 1 to 2 hours. Long time. So what are the scientists that are conducting these algorithm machine learning studies on Santorini? What is their conclusion? And here it comes, guys. Also, they say we have evidence. They're using the word evidence, not we might, we could, we think. We have evidence that this phenomenon is fluid driven. Fluid. Swarm type seismicity that comes in pulses. This is not unheard of in other volcanic regions. And don't forget, they're feeding these machines the data of like the Iceland eruptions, Hawaii eruptions, Tonga, Fiji, Philippines, Guatemala, all over the world. And this algorithm compares them and says what we're seeing here behaves the same way how the seismic pattern behaved before the eruption of volcano X. So if they say that they have evidence, we really have to take them very, very serious, guys. I am coming from that field. I studied that amongst other stuff, but I studied that, so I know what I'm talking about. This is clear evidence, guys, believe me, because these algorithms can analyze, I don't want to say so much, like galactical faster than any seismologist could. And which seismologist has all the eruptions in its head? Oh, we've seen that and that many earthquakes before the last eruption in Hawaii, and they were traveling here and they were traveling there. Oh yeah, and then there was another one where this and this happened. No. So, evidence that it is fluid driven. But they're noting something that comes in addition because of this unique geological location. It is evolving also on top of active faults that basically complicate the expression of seismicity. Because again, how much are these faults in play? And this is interesting, and that's what they're saying. It's easy to get a disconnected story, right? Saying it's just this, it's just this, it's just that. I always said, I think it's a combination of it all. So it's easy to disconnect it. When we just look at moderate magnitude seismic events, when we don't know that there's so many other events. So they're saying it's only when we investigate the smaller magnitude events that occur between these larger events. So it could be we see a 4.2 and then a 3.5, but in between we could have a few hundred of microseismic events that could tell us a different story. So only by looking and by learning, by knowing, by finding these microseismic events between the bigger ones, between the 3.5 and the 4 point something in that list, they learn of the hidden mechanisms that take place between the large earthquakes. So they're saying that it is very, very critical that they track whether these pulses become more frequent and how they migrate in space in the area and in depth. Are they getting more shallow? So far, the largest earthquake in this swarm has been 5.3. So we will have to wait and see. And now let's get back to the original list here. Okay, let's have a look. And again, after the 4.0 that I mentioned while I was talking, there was another earthquake. And let's see where it is. This is more south again. So this is closer to Santorini again. Shallow depth at only 2 kilometers. So this is far from over, guys. I will keep you updated. If you like what you see, leave this video a like, share it with your friends, help me push it out. And if you want to support the channel, go to my buymeacoffee.com/silky website. You can follow me there for free. But if you want to support me and my sick dog at the moment, buy me a coffee or two or more. And I know many of you are doing this, and I'm so grateful. You have no idea how that helps right now. Thank you for your supers that you're sending me here on YouTube, and for just being here and joining our group. And welcome to all my new members that are joining the membership level, where I'm releasing more behind the scenes stuff. And I'm actually just working on an update for you guys where we can discuss this Santorini phenomenon a little bit more private, where I can say a little bit more. So wait for that, but I want to release this one first. So thank you guys, stay safe, and I see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.